This is William Richardson, the original money doctor, the voice of reason with your financial checkup and question of the day. Here again with Esther, my daughter. Esther, how you doing?
Hi, Dad. It's great to be here. I'm excited to say the question of the day.
Well, I'm excited for you to be here and to say the question of the day. So let's have it.
The question of the day comes from emails, messages, callers, and personal contact. Today's question is, what's the best time to retire?
What is the best time to retire? Well, what do you think is the best time to retire?
I think the best times to retire is when you're old enough.
When you're old enough? Okay. And we'll get into that immediately. For me, what's the best time to retire? As soon as possible. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Well, I kind of got a chuckle about that one. When you're old enough. I'm old enough right now, right? Everyone listening? I'm old enough to retire. So when are you old enough? It's really a decision of two-phase. Are you ready to retire? And do you have the money to do it? So a lot of people can be ready to retire before they even start working because they're lazy and they don't want to work. Some people can be ready to retire because they created a business very young, and in 5, 10, 15 years, 20 years, they made it very successful and they're ready to retire. Someone else can have went into the workforce right out of high school and been working and living the American dream, but they can never get ahead. They're just living basically paycheck to paycheck, but they're doing well. They're taking care of their family. They're good citizens. They're good people. But they haven't been able to get past a certain limit. So they could be ready to retire, but most likely they don't have the money. And then you have the folks who worked hard, planned, maybe your average American family next door that you see, and they've been putting a little money away, and they've been preparing, and they've been living the principles in the 10-10-8% rule and been diligent. So when did they retire? If that's who you think you are, when do you retire? Are you able to retire? And so that's where you really want to get into choice and control. So I always talk about choice and control no matter what situation that we're in. You never want someone else to be in charge of your choices or controlling what's going to happen to you. It's really not a good situation. So when we put our money into certain accounts, we give up some choice and control back to the government. And so whether you like big government or you like small government, whether you're on the left or the right, it really doesn't matter for the choice and control or the 10-10-80% rule. It's a universal rule. It's not political. It's about having balance in your family and what you're doing. So when's the right time for you to retire is totally different when the right time for me to retire or for someone else to retire. So that's a decision you have to make with yourself, with your spouse, with your family. And then you need to go back and have a conversation with your accountant, with your advisor. And you really want that conversation to happen as soon as possible. So if you're able to start that conversation in your 20s and 30s, it's what we're really advocating for. It's a passion of mine is to teach the younger generation. If I could get them in 5th grade, that would be the best place to start. But sometimes it doesn't happen. So if we're starting in high school or in college, generally though, what's happening? Someone's coming in their 40s and 50s and sometimes even 60s, and here's what I have. I'm ready to retire in a few years, and what can I do? And most of them are a little short. Their expectations are very high. They haven't taken into an account that the money they have, the way it's growing, is they have to pay taxes on it. They didn't know that they're going to pay tax on Social Security. They didn't account for the market crashing and losing money. They're planning on their house, being a bank for them. And that may work for some of them. And one of the things that we like to look at in retirement based on age and if you're going to stay there, what you're going to do with the house. This is going to go to the kids, or you're strictly going to sell it and use it as income. You're going to downsize and kind of get into equity management. But we also can look at a reverse mortgage. And some people are very shy about that. Some advisors don't like it, but it is something that you can utilize and look at and be able to use that money to do many things for you and not have to pay it back, and it gets paid back when the property is sold. Now, if you want money to go to your kids and that house is supposed to go to your kids, well, it's very easy to take this money, and as long as you're healthy, or we have someone that is healthy that we can use, they're basically borrow their health statistics to work with the strategic financial plan with an insurance company, we can give them all the money that they need tax-free, and they don't have to worry about step-up in basis, capital gains, or any of those hassles with the government being involved. Just strictly cash going to them, one-on-one, no one involved, no probate, no government, no one telling anyone what to do, just straight cash, tax-free. I like that, and probably your kids will like that better than having to sell a house and everything to deal with that. And that's a different subject, and we'll kind of get into that at another time involving equity management. But back to when the right time to retire is, what's true wealth? So what have you been, working for? What do you want to actually do in retirement? Are you just going to sit there and, learn something new? You're going to, finger paint or crochet or garden? You're going to go golf? Or have you been planning to have a motorhome? You're going to travel? You're going to teach? You're going to spend more time giving back to the community, working with your church, nonprofit? Or do you want to continue to work part-time at your company or another company? Or are you going to be a consultant? Or are you going to start your own little small business? What do you want to do? And when did you start thinking about this? 3 years before retirement? Or have you been planning this for the last, 20 or 30 years? So the things we wanted to do in our 20s are not the same things we want to do in our 30s and 40s and 50s. Our plan, our vision, changes. Do you want to move? Did all your children move to different parts of the country and you want to go live closer to one of them? Or do you want to get away from them, depending on what the situation is, right? Hopefully it's something you want to be, closer to them. If you have grandkids, you want to spend time with them. Maybe you want to go and serve your church and you want to go on a mission for a couple years someplace around the world. And so how do you do those things if you're not planning for them? If you think you're going to dive into your retirement account and all that money is going to be there, how did you fund it? And how are you continuing to fund it once you find information? And you have to decide, is this information valid? Is it valid for me? Is it true? Is it going to work for me? You have to embrace it, dismiss it, or move on. And my goal as a financial educator is to help you take that information and decide what you're going to do with it. Hopefully you're going to embrace it, internalize it, change the thinking that you've had for the last 20, 30, 40 years and say, okay, that does make sense. I'm willing to take the pain now. I'm going to pay some taxes on this money. I'm going to move it over to a better account for my personal situation. I'm going to let that money grow over time. Something happens to me, it can fund my spouse, my kids, the house, the charity, the church, whatever you want that money to do, with no hassle, with no understanding of what's really going to happen in the stock market. And if you have a lot of money in the market, because people do, and I'm not totally against the market, but I don't want to bet all of my chips on the market. So that's where you take money from the 80% and you use your 10%, what you're paying yourself, to be in a safe, guaranteed position where you always can rely on that, and you don't have to be sick with stress worrying about, okay, the Dow's up, the Dow's down, where's the market, what's the president doing, what happened overseas, what's China doing, involving currency, the new World Bank, how's all that stuff affecting you currently now? When's the market going to actually crash? What you're talking about tomorrow, the next day, the next month? You don't have to worry about those things if you have your money in the proper place. And if you haven't in a while, I'd encourage you just to go back and just read the World Economic Report at moneydoctoradvisor.com. You're always going to see something different in there. It's kind of like if you read the scriptures, you can read something over and over and over, but the 10th time you got it because something happened in your life and it was the right time for you to get that information. You had your aha moment. So I want people to continue to go back and read that information until they get their aha moment on the certain different aspects of what they were reading. So with that said, when's the right time to retire? Only you know that, but hopefully you'll sit down with your advisor, give us a call, and allow us to help you find that time. And with that said, keep your money safe until we meet again.
This is Esther Richardson, and you're listening to The Original Money Doctor with the financial checkup of the day. Ask about our educational, private, and public online seminars, video series, and live broadcasting events. Visit the event calendar at moneydoctoradvisor.com.
Living with purpose and real intent. If you're as concerned as I am, and you're not the type to sit around and wait for something to happen, there's something you can do. A special gift invitation. How to get growth, protection, and income for your money. Send a request for a special promo code to watch this new online video training series absolutely free in the comfort of your home or office. You will learn how hard-working American families protect and control their retirement money and never expose it to stock market risk or massive taxation. Watch this free video series and learn the rules. Send requests to info@citizensfinancialsecurity.com. That's info@citizensfinancialsecurity.com to view video online. Video series is shared as a public benefit for enlightenment.
You've been listening to The Original Money Doctor, inspiring you to rise above it all and plan ahead with guaranteed success. William F. Richardson is The Original Money Doctor. Tune in next week, same time, same channel, 105.5.